What's up, listeners? Welcome back to the Migrant Mix. Today we're going to be talking about immigration and its history in the United States. I'm Cade.
I'm Anthony.
I'm Braden.
I'm Trey.
So, who wants to start us off?
So some of the stuff I found was that in the era of globalization, it was the start of immigration in America, starting with the Europeans, settlers coming over. This was the first group of immigrants to come over. They were moving because of some problems in their countries. The main reason was that they wanted to find better life here. The start was pretty strong. The Immigration Act of 1917 was pretty successful. It was helpful because it set out the first test for U.S. immigrants, and yeah.
Do you know the type of like questions that were on that test, and like how they like were able to show that they actually were able to become citizens?
Those questions were kind of hard. It was more racial. I believe it to like be more, I guess, bias towards white people compared to like other races. Like the Chinese came in, also Mexicans were starting, and it was more like bias to white people.
I know that today's test, you have to read, write English. Was that still on the old test?
No, it wasn't. That's the main problem they were facing with discrimination towards the towards Chinese settlers and Mexican settlers too.
And like also they also had to take like an oath of allegiance, I heard.
Yeah.
Like when they're taking the test, you have to take an oath, like to pledge yourself to the United States.
You had to take an oath back then to all U.S. citizenship. It's different now though. Back then it was a different oath, and they changed it up throughout history to make it more modern and everything.
Trey, do you have anything?
Yeah.
What did you understand from what you've researched?
I mean, I understood that there was a lot of executive orders that the presidents issued. Like George W. Bush made the executive order 13269, and the target was like non-citizens to apply for U.S. citizenship immediately upon if you want to join the military, and the purpose was it to enhance the security and protection of the national security information.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. These are more modern examples, correct? So like
9/11 or like
this is post 9/11. Okay.
Because of obviously 9/11 and all the terrorist attacks, they had to bump up all the security, and they had to make sure they had to have all these background checks, like tests and all these things, to make sure that it wasn't another terrorist.
How do you think how do you think from the early 1900s to the early 2000s, how do you think immigration has changed? Do you think that it's been harder, or do you think it's been easier?
I think back then it was a lot harder for immigrants to like enter the country due to all these exclusion acts and racial things against them. Racial things against certain immigrants.
Yeah, and nowadays we have people like President Obama, who he implemented the Deferred Action for child Americans. Is that
Child arrivals.
child arrivals? Yeah. So
DACA.
that deferred children who came into the country illegally, so that they did not have to be deported because they're only children, and that was a,
They could also apply for citizenship sooner or later, right?
I think so, but just through that act alone, it wouldn't let them have citizenship. But it's definitely better than being
Racially,
deported
like,
and racially profiled. Yeah.
yeah.
So when we go back to the main question of is the U.S. immigration has it been successful or has it been a failure? What do you guys think? Do you agree that it's been a success?
I think it's been a success because, I mean, we have obviously like the border, and we have also all of these things from, like, instead of just letting everybody in, like,
Yeah, it
you
keeps
get
illegal
in, you get in.
immigrants out so that we don't have to deal with it. Just like puts a limit to how many we have floating in the country.
I think, yeah, I also agree. I think we've given like plenty of help. I think since there's also been a lot of like fights around the borders for immigrants getting in and out illegally, our country has like done a great job in like keeping in legal immigrants sometimes.
And trying to keep out
Yeah.
the illegal ones.
Yeah, I think it's important that everyone gets a chance, and I think that we have like overall American history. It does give everyone the chance to have freedom in this country.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. This has been the Migrant Mix signing off.